Buenos días, bienvenidos a mi clase de español de hoy, otra vez. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Yo estoy muy bien. ¿Y tú? ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? So today, guys, I want to firstly remind you of what's known as the big picture. So what is it I'm trying to achieve with you with these videos at the moment? So the key objective is for you to be able to answer the question in Spanish, ¿Cómo eres? ¿Cómo eres? What are you like? ¿Cómo eres? Literally means ¿cómo is how, and eres means you are. So the question, if you were to translate it literally, means how you are, or how are you? Now, that is not the same in Spanish as what we would mean by how are you, because if I ask you how are you in English, you might reply, I'm fine, I'm good today, thanks. When you say how are you, como eres en español, what you're asking is what are you like físicamente, appearance wise, físicamente, and de carácter, which means character wise or personality wise. The type of thing we're trying to say as a model paragraph, as an example, would be, I think I'm a very good looking and nice person. In addition, I'm quite funny, but sometimes I can be a bit bossy. I'm slim but not very tall. I have blonde, straight hair and I have green eyes. Now, today's focus is going to be on hair and eyes. How do you describe hair and eyes in Spanish? And that's going to involve things like colour. Okay, so we'll be looking at colour. Some people might be very familiar with the adjectives of colour in Spanish, others won't be, but we'll deal with that as we come to it. Now, a little actividad means activity. Una actividad de repaso. Repaso, revision. Una actividad de repaso. So the question is, ¿Cómo eres? ¿Cómo eres? And if I ask you, ¿Cómo eres de carácter? I'm asking you, what are you like character-wise? If I were to ask you, ¿Cómo eres físicamente? I'm asking you, what are you like physically? In other words, your appearance. Notice adjectives. Notice accents in Spanish. We've got one here, okay, on the I. We've got one here on the A. And they're very useful as a guide to pronunciation because they tell you where to stress the word. Okay, so here, that I accent tells you that the word is not going to be físicamente, for example. The A accent tells you this is not carácter. Okay, it's telling you that this word is físicamente. So you hit that first I, físicamente. And here it's telling you that this word is pronounced carácter, because you're hitting this second A as you say it. Now, you have 10 adjectives: gracioso, bajo, simpático, gordo, alto, mandón, guapo, delgado, feo, antipático. 10 adjectives at the bottom. And I want you to sort 4 into this column here under de carácter, and 6 under físicamente, the appearance type adjectives under here. So, for example, if you think gracioso is an adjective of appearance that's describing you physically, you would move gracioso, well, you won't move it, you'll write it, gracioso under this section here. And there will be 6 adjectives under físicamente, 4 under de carácter. So I'd like you to pause the video, and I'd like you to do that. It would be certainly useful to have a pen and some paper. Un bolígrafo is a pen, un bolígrafo. Y papel, paper, or un cuaderno, an exercise book, whatever you need. And I want you to do that, pause me, come back, we'll check your answers. Okay, so I'm not going to sort of take too much time with this. What you should have looks like this. ¿Cómo eres de carácter? So you should have had gracioso, funny, simpático, nice or kind, antipático, mean or nasty, mandón, bossy. One way to help you remember mandon, by the way, and look, there's an accent on there, it tells you that that O is hit, mandon. If you think of the English word command, command, it's clearly linked because Spanish and French, and to a lesser degree English, because English is a little bit odd, but English has a lot of words that are based in Latin, which is the language of Rome. And I may well have told you before, but when we talk about Romance languages, of which there are five Romance languages. When we say Romance languages, it's nothing to do with hearts and chocolates and romance in the sense that we think of it. The Romance, it's to do with Rome and Roman and the language of Rome, which was Latin. So French and Spanish are both examples of Romance languages. So the language of these countries can be traced back to Latin. And in English, it's more complicated because we have a lot of Latin-based words on the one hand, but we also have a lot of Germanic-based words as well. Because we've drawn our language from both, English is a particularly rich language, so we have more words for things than most other languages. And but often, because we've got lots of words that are Latin based, we can make educated guesses about words in Spanish and in French, for example. So the word command is to order somebody, isn't it? To do something. Command has the idea of order, which would help you to remember bossy as mandon, because stick CO in the front of that word, you have commandon. So command, think bossy, okay? Man. And interestingly, guys, in Spanish, the word for a remote control for your TV set, for example, is un mando, a mando. In fact, it's un mando a distancia, which literally means a sort of a command at distance. Un mando a distancia. So it's all to do with this idea of commands, orders, that type of thing. So the 6 adjectives of appearance. So these would be what you might be responding when you were asked, ¿Cómo eres físicamente? What you like physically, you could say, bajo, short, alto, tall, gordo, fat, delgado, slim, guapo, good looking, feo, ugly. Okay, so hopefully we're really starting to remember these key adjectives for describing people. Okay, today we're trying to look at how you would talk about hair and eyes. This is a model response. This is what you might say as an example. I have blonde, straight hair and I have green eyes. So we're talking about hair colour, style, straight, curly, short, whatever. And I have green eyes. So we're talking about colour here, aren't we? Okay, so some of you might be very familiar with your colours, others not so much. Some of you might never have seen the colours in Spanish. So the idea of this is it's going to be, for some, an introduction for the first time to colours, and for many of you it will just be a revision session of the colours. So the first thing I'd like you to do is, either through complete guesswork or through prior knowledge, I'd like you to match the colour words on the left-hand side, a la izquierda on the left, with the colours a la derecha on the right, a la derecha on the right. So all I want you to do, guys, and do listen carefully to me here, is on a sheet of paper, is to write the number with the corresponding letter of the colour that you think matches it. If you think, for example, violeta or violeta / morado is, I don't know, blue, okay, which is this colour here, you would write 1A. That's not correct, by the way, but that's how I'd like you to do it. So you would write just the number and the letter. So it's a matching activity, this. So what I also need to do is just clarify these colours down here. So you've got blue, And then these two colours are respectively orange and yellow, because it's not necessarily going to be very easy for you, depending on the quality of the screen you're looking at and the size of the screen, to be able to tell the difference. B is orange, C is yellow, D is green, okay? Brown is grey. Brown is G, okay? So just in case there's any confusion, E is purple. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to pause the video, and I'd like you to just quickly write down a matchup for those items. Okay, so rather than me just correcting that with you straight off the bat, I'm going to use some useful nouns as a means of you correcting this for yourself. What do I mean by that? Okay, so at this stage I'm going to come out of this PowerPoint slightly, and I'm going to actually minimize that, move me over a bit. So here are a collection of nouns with their images to help you remember what they mean. And I've coloured all of these nouns according to the colours we've just looked at. There are some very useful things that are going to come out of these nouns and the way I've presented them. The first thing I'm going to tell you is by the way, the difference between S and son. If you want to say is or it is, the word is S. If you wanted to say are or they are, it's son. So you've got S and son. So son is the one that you want when we're talking plural. So if I wanted to say the birds, pájaros, are yellow, for example, I'm going to be using son for the word are. That's the first thing. So S, it is or is, son, they are or are. The next thing is los and las are two words that mean the in Spanish. And these are the plural the. As you can see, all of the items on here are in the plural. Okay, so pájaros, birds, corazones, hearts, zapatillas, trainers, and so on. And if we want to say the birds, for example, we are going to say los pájaros, los pájaros. So that is the plural for masculine things in Spanish for the. Now, the other thing that's going to be useful here is to just remind ourselves a little bit about gender and how you tell whether a noun, and a noun is a thing, a place, or a person, how you tell whether that thing is masculine or feminine generally. And one of the most basic rules is if you've got a noun that ends with an O, like pájaro, remember that S is just making it plural. Pájaro is bird. It ends with an O. That's a very good indicator that that is masculine. So we now know that pájaro, bird, is a masculine thing in Spanish. They consider birds to be a boy thing. Whereas if we look at the word for trainer, singular trainer, it's zapatilla, and that ends with an A, and that's almost always an indicator that that's a feminine thing. So the Spanish think of trainers as feminine. And if I want to say the trainers, it's las zapatillas. Okay? The S on the end here is just merely making that plural. That's all it is. The base word is zapatilla. Zapatilla, one trainer. I mean, we rarely say that, do we? We always talk about a pair of trainers, plural. In the same way that we wouldn't really talk about gaffer, singular, because we're talking about the word in English, glasses, aren't we? As in these things, gafas. Okay, we don't talk about one of them. We always talk in terms of plural. But if you wanted to work out whether that's masculine or feminine, just pop the S off the end, which is just telling you it's plural, like we do in English with words, and you've got gaffer. And that ends with A, and again, that's telling you that that's feminine. That A ending, that letter A on the end is feminine. So if we wanted to say the sunglasses, it's not going to be los gafas de sol, it's going to be las gafas de sol. It's just this idea, isn't it, that generally speaking, an O is a masculine indicator and an A is a feminine indicator. So las gafas de sol. What do you think about this word then, everybody? So cielos means skies, plural. So if you take the S off, you end up with the singular noun, which is cielo, sky. So based on that, is that a masculine or feminine noun, the word for sky in Spanish? And the answer will be, well, it ends with an O, therefore it's masculine. Therefore, if I want to say the skies, plural, it's going to be los cielos, los cielos. So hopefully that's pretty clear. What's not so clear is when you've got words like corazón. Now, corazón, take again the ES on the end, and let's just remind ourselves of the rules of plurals, by the way. If you want to make a noun plural and it ends with a vowel, and a vowel is either A, E, I, O, or U. A, E, I, O, or U. They are the 5 vowels. You simply add an S. And that looks right, doesn't it? So if the word for a bird is a pájaro, the word for birds is pájaros. Easy. If the word for a training shoe, one of them, is a zapatilla, trainers, plural, is zapatillas. Now, a consonant is a letter that isn't a vowel. So if it's not A, E, I, O, or U, generally speaking, it's a consonant. And corazón ends with the consonant N. The word for a tree here is árbol, ending with an L, a consonant. And with consonants, you can't just add an S to make it plural, you have to add ES. So corazón becomes corazones, and árbol becomes árboles, and so on. And generally speaking, if a noun ends with a consonant, it's masculine, okay, with a couple of exceptions. Okay, so nearly always though, if a vowel ends with a consonant, it's masculine. And as I think we've seen, there are a couple of key exceptions, and that is words in Spanish that end with the 3 letters dad, or sorry, with the DAD for dad. There's a lot of words that end with dad in Spanish, and dad words are feminine. So even though it ends with a D, a consonant, if it's those 3 letters finishing the noun dad, it's feminine. And the other 3-letter ending, which is nearly always feminine, is ion, ion. And again, even though that's ending with the consonant N, ion words tend to be feminine. So again, I will remind you of this constantly so that you don't forget. I'm going to take mis gafas de sol off because I can't see anything. And let me explain to you how this is going to work. Okay, so I'm going to make a statement about one of the items on this slide. I'm leaving this up for you so that you've got access to the colour words here. And the statement that I make will give you the clue as to what colours match the words. So let's do an example together. If I said to you, so listen carefully to this, if I said to you, los cielos son azules, again, los cielos son azules, los cielos son azules. If you can work out what I'm saying, you'll understand what the colour is. So what I'm saying is los cielos, the skies, son, are, because it's plural, azules, So that's telling you that azul is blue, isn't it? Azul is blue. And just like the nouns where you have to make something plural, you add an E or an ES, the colour or the adjective, because it doesn't have to be a colour, adjectives are any describing word, aren't they? And colours are adjectives, they describe, don't they? They have to change as well because we're talking about something plural, and azul becomes azules. So again, los cielos, the skies, son azules, with that es ending, because although the base word azul means blue, we have to make that describing word, that adjective or colour, plural as well. It becomes azules in the plural. So I'm going to go through these and you're going to just check as best you can whether you were correct in your matchup earlier. So we'll start at the beginning. Los pájaros son amarillos. Los pájaros son amarillos. Los pájaros son amarillos. What am I saying? Los pájaros, the birds, son are amarillos. And there's the word amarillo. And you can work out looking at that picture that they are yellow. Amarillo, yellow. So you should have had, well, this is actually going to go slightly awry, isn't it? But you should have had 5C if you were correct. So tick them off as we go. 5 was C. The next one is los corazones son morados. Los corazones son morados. Los corazones son morados. What am I saying? Los corazones, the hearts, son, are morados, which is one word for purple. Okay, so you should have had one E, and well done if you got that right. But you can also, morado, purple, but you've also got the word violeta or violeta, depending on how you're pronouncing your V's. And remember that in Spain, in Europe, it's V is a B sound, so it would be violeta. But in Mexico and South America, places like Ecuador, Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, Colombia, they would say violeta. Okay. So yeah, morado, violeta, both mean sort of purple or violet. Yeah. Next, las zapatillas son naranjas. Las zapatillas son naranjas. Las zapatillas son naranjas. I am saying the trainers, las zapatillas, because remember it's got an A on the end, zapatilla, meaning it's feminine. Las zapatillas son. The trainers are naranjas orange. Okay, that might not be that clear from the picture. So naranja, you should have had B. So it would have been 6B. 6B. Naranja, orange. And actually naranja is the fruit as well, an orange. Una naranja is an orange. Una naranja. Next. Las gafas de sol son rojas. Las gafas de sol son rojas. Las gafas de sol son rojas. So what am I saying? Las gafas de sol, the sunglasses, or the glasses of sun, literally is what that means. Sol is sun. Think of solar. Solar. Gafas de sol, literally glasses of sun. Ordinary glasses are just gafas. Okay? Gafas de sol, sunglasses. So, las gafas de sol son, the sunglasses are rojas. Okay? Rojo, red. So you should have had 2F. 2F. Why is it rojas? Well, there's two things at play now. It's not rojo, it's roja. with an A because gafa, the word for glass, we never say that, do we? It's always plural, just like it is in English. We'd never say, I'm wearing a glass. It's always glasses, plural. So it's feminine because it ends with an A. So it's not rojo, but roja. And then you have to add an S to the describing word, in this case the colour, because it's plural as well. So it's rojas. That's quite difficult, that, isn't it, to remember. So the describey words, in this case the colours, the adjectives, have to agree in gender and number. So if something is plural that we're describing or giving a colour for or whatever it is, it has to have an S on the end. So it's rojas. Next, los cielos son azules. Los cielos son azules. Los cielos son azules. So, what am I saying? Los cielos, the skies, son, are, azules, blue. So azul, blue, 7A, 7A. So you can tick that off if you got it right. Again, why is it azules? Okay, so azul has to become plural because we are describing skies, plural. And therefore, how do you make something that ends with a consonant, plural? You add es, azules. Okay. Next. Los árboles son verdes or verdes. Los árboles son verdes. Los árboles son verdes. Okay, now, what am I saying? The trees, los árboles, son, are verdes. Okay, so verde, green. You should have had 3D, 3D. Los árboles son verdes. Again, what I want to say to you guys at this stage is a couple of things, really. One is, in fact, the point I want to make really is this, that if you know a foreign language, and particularly a European language, often it helps you with your English. And it might help you if you were reading a book and you came across a word, an English book I'm talking about, and you came across a word and you didn't recognize it, that English word. Knowing some Spanish or French, for example, could really help you. And an example is the word árbol, which means tree, árbol. And I'm going to quickly go to word reference now and just show you that if I start typing into the box here, arb, okay, or arbo, like this. So this is the beginning of our Spanish word árbol, sorry. And you see, look, there's lots of English. See the EN here is telling you some English words that are really closely related to that Spanish word. So arboriculture in English, if you saw that word, it would probably, if you knew árbol for tree in Spanish, might tell you that arboriculture, even if you'd never seen it before and hadn't got a clue what it means, is to do with trees. So it's tree culture, it's the study of trees, arboriculture. You might be able to guess that the occupation of an arborist is somebody who is interested in trees, for example. An arboretum, well, we've got one not far from us, actually, and it's called Bedgebury. And an arboretum is a park or a area dedicated to a collection of trees, an arboretum, and so on. You've got the word arboriculturist as well, I think, which again is all relating to trees. Okay. If we go back, if you look as well, and it applies to the word verde for green in Spanish as well. If you think of the word, and again I'll bring it up in our dictionary, wordreference.com. If I started to type in verd, okay, you'll see some English words here with, actually, here we go, verdict, verdant, verdure, verdigris. Now, as an example, some of you might know what the word verdant means in English, some of you might not, but if you knew that verde in Spanish is green, and you read something that said the landscape was particularly verdant, okay, or the countryside was really verdant, you might be able to guess that verdant actually means green with vegetation. It means lots of lush leaves and flowers and plants. So you can see that actually, if I go back again, I've lost my original thing. Verdant actually means lush or green with vegetation. And verdigris, again, another word, it's quite a technical word this. It's an English word, but it means the green tinge that forms on copper, which is really obscure, isn't it? But if any of you know anything about chemistry and kind of metal, if you have something that's made of copper, when it ages, it tends, and it reacts with the air, I think, that copper tends to turn a really interesting kind of green colour, and that's called verdigris. That's that formation. So my point is, guys, when it comes to learning languages and you learn something like Spanish, you're actually helping your understanding of the English language as well, okay, which is quite key, I think. So just back to our colours and our items. So árboles, verdes, okay, green trees, verdes, green. And finally, we've got los ojos son marrones. Los ojos son marrones. Okay, so the eyes, los ojos son, are marrones, plural, actually, because we're talking about a plural thing. Marron, brown, G. So you should have 4G, 4G. Okay. Again, they're a little bit random, these items, but they're words that are common and that you need to know. Next up, back to our slides. So just to for you to check, you should have had 1E, 2F, 3D, 4G, 5C, 6B, 7A. All right, and that's your colours in Spanish. This is turning into quite a long PowerPoint or long lesson, guys, and I would just remind you that if you finding it difficult to concentrate over, say, 30 minutes, 45 minutes, stop it and come back to it. Go and have a cup of tea, go for a walk, do whatever you want to do, and then come back. So I'm going to skip this slide and I'm going to move on. Okay, now this really is what we're working up to talk about hair and eyes. And you could, I will put a link to this particular slide so that you can print it off if you want to as a record. But this is how we talk about our own hair and eyes. So we need to use the expression tengo, I have, and el pelo is hair, or more literally, the hair. Okay, so do you remember we had plural things were los and las for the, and el is when you've got a boy thing, pelo is hair, ends with an O, it's masculine, and el is the way you say the when you're talking about one thing. Okay, now, and the thing is masculine. So tengo el pelo literally means I have the hair. That's the structure in Spanish. I have tengo el pelo, the hair. And it's as simple as this, guys. It goes, if I wanted to say I've got short hair, for example, it would be tengo el pelo corto. Okay, there we are. Corto, short. Largo, long. Okay. Again, I'm just pointing things out as they occur to me, but straight away you might notice that this is a little bit of a tricky, trip you up type of word, largo, because if you saw that word in Spanish, you might think it means large or big, mightn't you? But actually it doesn't. It means long. And this is an example, and we will look at more of these in a coming episode. This is an example in language terms of something called a false friend, because it looks like, if you saw that word in Spanish or you heard it, you'd think, oh, brilliant, I know what that means. Largo has got to mean large or big. It's like a friendly word, isn't it? Because it appears to be something that you recognize in English. But actually, it's called a false friend because it doesn't mean large, it means long. So corto, short, largo, long. So the structure for talking about your hair and describing is tengo el pelo, I have the hair, and then whatever the adjectives are that you want to use, whether that's adjectives of style. I don't know why I'm pointing at my hair, guys, because there isn't a lot of it. So, for example, curly, straight, adjectives of length, short or long. Colour, of course, and colours are adjectives. This is how you start. Tengo el pelo corto. I have short hair. If I wanted to say I have short curly hair, it will be tengo el pelo corto y, here's the letter Y, isn't it? And it means and. So y is our word in Spanish for and. So we would say tengo, so if I want to say I have short curly hair, tengo el pelo corto y rizado. Rizado, curly. Liso, straight. Curly and straight. Rizado, liso. Rizado, liso. Not to be confused with the Spanish word listo. Listo, which some of you might remember means ready or prepared. So at the beginning of a couple of my episodes, I said listo, lista, meaning you ready kind of thing. So liso is straight. Listo with a T means ready or prepared. And if you remember, I gave you the idea of a shopping list to remember, listo. And the idea was that you're not ready to go to the supermarket to do the shopping until you've got a list as a way of remembering, listo, for prepared or ready. Ondulado, erizado, wavy and spiky. And again, anybody who's really good at English and reads a lot might know a word that is related to this word in English, which is undulating. And if you talk about an undulating landscape, it means a landscape that kind of does that. It's a sort of gently sloping, wavy kind of idea on undulating. And the Spanish have the word ondulado for wavy, as in wavy hair here. Rubio Morena. Rubio is a difficult one to remember because that's their word for blonde, and that's hard to remember because what clue do you have in that word? We don't. Rubio, blonde. Moreno, difficult as well, means dark, as in sort of generally dark hair, that kind of idea. Negro y blanco. Negro, black, blanco, white. Castaño, brown, as in sort of chestnut brown, and so on. And we've got a very nice word for red or ginger hair, and it is pelirrojo. Pelirrojo. So look, peli relates to the word pelo, doesn't it? Hair. And rojo, as we've seen, is the colour red. So that word kind of makes perfect sense. Double R in Spanish, you've got to roll your R. R. Pelirrojo. And if you can't do it, don't worry, but practice it, and you might find that you can do it after a little bit of practice. Pelirrojo. In the same way that you use tengo el pelo to say I have the hair, Rubio, for example, blonde, I have the hair blonde, tengo el pelo rubio. For eyes, it's a similar idea, but this time it's tengo los ojos, I have the eyes. Tengo los ojos, and then whatever colour your eyes are. So if you want to say I have blue eyes, tengo los ojos azules. Tengo los ojos azules. You want to say I've got grey eyes, tengo los ojos grises, and gris is grey. We didn't see that in the colours, did we? Gris, grey. So that's the structure of how we talk about our hair and our eyes. So what do we need to remember? Tengo, I have. The hair or the eyes. El pelo or los ojos. And then some more specialist stuff. Soy calvo. Para mí es verdad. Es verdad. It's true. Es verdad. Soy calvo. I'm bald. No tengo pelo. No tengo. So tengo, I have. No tengo, I don't have, or I haven't. No tengo pelo. Pelo, hair. Soy calvo. I'm bald. Tengo bigote. Okay, I have a moustache. Tengo barba. I have a beard. Para mí es verdad. For me, it's true. Para mí es verdad. Tengo barba. I have a beard. And if you want to say I wear glasses, llevo is I wear. Llevo, I wear. Llevo gafas, I wear glasses. Llevo gafas. Now, at this stage, guys, I need to remind you about the importance of using Memorize and Quizlet, because I can go through this with you, but if you want to remember these words, you have to practice them, and the way to practice them is through Memorize and or Quizlet. Okay, you have to do that practice. I can't do it for you. I'm not going to sit here in these videos and sort of drill this language, because it's a waste of time. You have to do that part independently until you know the words. So I will put a link to this one slide on beneath the video for today, so that you can print it off or download this particular slide, so you've got a record of this language if you want it. Okay. Now, again, just to finish up then, and to hand over to you to do a little bit of thinking. Here is the language that I've just shown you. And just as a way of engaging you with that language in a way that will interest you, I want you to encontrar el intruso. So this is the final part of today's video. It says here, each row has a word that doesn't belong with the other three words. So it says use the Hair and Eyes sheet to help you. That's this here. And make sure you can justify your choice. So let's do the first row together. So we've got four words: barba, bigote, moreno, pelo. And I'm doing this because I'm introducing you to, I understand, a lot of new vocabulary in one hit. So this is just a way of you thinking about the language here. So one of these words, barba, bigote, moreno, pelo, doesn't fit. Okay, so pause the video just for a second. Focus on these four blue words at the top in that row. Which one doesn't quite fit? And you can use the sheet here to help you as a guide. Okay, so barba, beard, bigote, moustache, moreno, dark, as in dark hair, dark eyes, that sort of idea, somebody who's dark. And pelo, hair, which is the odd one out. El intruso, literally the intruder, isn't it? And we know that an intruder is a person who is somewhere that they shouldn't be, where they don't fit. So el intruso es moreno, because the rest of them are all, if you like, hair related, aren't they? Specifically, so barba, beard, bigote, moustache, pelo, hair itself. Moreno is an adjective for a start, and it means dark. So moreno is the odd one out. So at this stage, I'd like you to pause the video. This is the last part of what we're going to do today, and I'd like you to work out which is the odd one out in each row. Come back and we'll correct together. Muy bien. Entonces, aquí las palabras verdes. Palabra is the word for word in Spanish. So when I say palabras verdes, I'm talking about the green words. Las palabras verdes. Rubio, largo, rizado, corto. Which is the odd one out? Okay, the odd one out should be rubio, because it's specifically talking about colour of hair, whereas largo, long, rizado, curly, corto, short, are talking about, if you like, the style of the hair or the cut of the hair. Verde, liso, gris, azul. So these are las palabras naranjas. Naranjas, orange. So these are the orange words. Palabras naranjas, which is the odd one out. El intruso, verde, liso, gris, azul. Green, straight, grey, blue. Entonces, el intruso, so, entonces, el intruso es, the intruder is, liso. ¿Por qué? Why? ¿Por qué? Because all of the others are colours, aren't they? Green, grey, blue. Las palabras violetas. Las palabras violetas, the violet words or the purple words. Hermano, madre, amigo, padre. So this is going back a little bit to stuff that we've looked at before. Which is the odd one out? Okay, so we've got brother, mother, madre. So hermano, brother, madre, mother, amigo, friend, padre, father. So this might be a little bit suspect in terms of identifying an odd one out, but I think that for me the odd one out, el intruso es amigo, because an amigo is not a family member, is it? Whereas the rest are. Amigo is friend. And finally, las palabras rosas. You might remember I said that rosa, R-O-S-A, like rose, is the colour for pink in Spanish. Las palabras rosas at the bottom. Pelirrojo, erizado, moreno, castaño. I've just realised actually I've taken down my little sheet here, which isn't helping, is it? But if we look at these, the odd one out, pelirrojo is kind of red-headed or ginger. Erizado is the idea of spiky. And that's quite easy to remember, because if you remember that rizado is curly, erizado is spiky. Rizado curly, erizado spiky. Moreno dark, castaño is like chestnut brown or lightish brown. It's a difficult one to describe that. So the odd one out is erizado, because erizado is about style, isn't it? Spiky, whereas the rest are describing the colour of the hair. So guys, that's it. We're at 3/4 of an hour. I appreciate that's quite a long lesson today. Again, just to remind you, memorise and Quizlet. This is what will make you remember this language, by using those two online tools. It's really the only way that you will remember this stuff in the long term. And I think that really is about it. The only other thing I wanted to mention again, which I perhaps haven't said, and it might be obvious, it might not be, but if you feel like this lesson has passed you by in some way, or there's bits of this lesson that you didn't fully understand, again, the beauty of a video is you can rewind it and look at certain sections of it very easily and go through things again. So if you need to do that, do that. Bueno, hasta luego, which means until then or goodbye. Hasta la próxima vez, until the next time, adios.